Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with Doctor Who. Last time on Doctor Who, we had the Beast Below. The Doctor and Amy went to Starship UK in the far-off future. And, basically just an entire starship. A starship with the entire United Kingdom on it, except for Scotland, apparently. Yeah, and we were just kind of going around, figuring out what the deal was. There were some memory machines, some creepy face things. We met Elizabeth X, and we realized that the whole thing did not have an engine, but was being carried along by a star whale. And they were torturing it in order to use it to pull the Starship UK along. The Doctor got pissed about everything, and... yeah, and then Amy saved the day by pointing out that the star whale basically voluntarily was taking the starship, and they didn't have to torture it. So, yeah, it was definitely interesting. Definitely an interesting episode, and then at the end, Winston Churchill called the Doctor and said, hey, we got a problem. We got some Daleks over here. And yeah, we're on our way. So yeah, that's pretty much that. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. Let's stick to this episode and previous episodes of Doctor Who Classic, Torchwood, and the Sarah Jane Adventures that I've reacted to. And with that being said, let's get right into this episode of Doctor Who. Here we go.
41. That's Reggie's squadron.
No, Reggie.
Time to roll out the secret weapon.
Secret weapon? What secret weapon? What? The fuck, Winston Churchill?
Winston Churchill.
Doctor, is it you?
Oh good, she got some actual clothes.
Every time.
What's he after?
TARDIS key, of course.
Think of what I could achieve with your remarkable machine, Doctor.
And that's why you won't get it.
That could be saved. I rang you a month ago.
Really?
Wow.
Sorry, it's a Type 40 TARDIS. I'm just running her in.
Yeah, he's still working on it.
Something's the matter, Breen. You look a little down in the dumps.
Bringing Reggie.
Fine, sir.
Action this day, Breen. Action this day.
Yes, sir.
Whatever that means. Shit, Germans. Yeah. Fucking, you know what would be so cool? If this was the same time that the empty child happened. It's just like later that night. Fucking, it turns to night, they just see Rose flying by. Huh.
That wasn't human, that was never human technology, that
Yeah.
sounded like...
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Daleks. With pockets.
What do you think? Heard something, eh? Blueprints, statistics, field tests, photographs.
Blueprints?
He invented them.
Invented them? Oh, no.
Yeah.
He approached one of our brass hats a few months ago. Fella's a genius.
A Scottish genius too. Maybe you should listen to.
Yeah. Not the time, Amy.
The Einstein seemed too good to be true.
Yes, right, so destroy them, exterminate them.
Huh.
Imagine what I could do with 100. 1,000.
I am imagining.
Yeah. Chaos. Is he carrying... Oh, I thought he was carrying a pizza.
Planets in the sky, you don't forget that.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Amy. Tell me you remember the Daleks.
No, sorry.
Oh, shit. You don't remember the Stolen Earth?
families torn apart, Wren's churches in flames.
Yeah, try the earth in flames.
Yeah.
I weep for my country. I weep for my own.
I get where he's coming from, but this just isn't good.
For now.
Let him get inside it. Like, figure out, like, what it is. Is the squid in there?
Upstairs, the all clear.
Would you care for some tea? Stop this! What are you doing here? What do you want?
So mad.
Only to help you. Defend yourself.
Oh, fuck.
What the devil? You do review testimony. I am the doctor. And you are
Oh.
the Daleks.
Testimony.
What are you talking about? Testimony?
Transmitting testimony now.
Transmit what? Where?
Shit. Well, they've already been outed. Oh, fuck. It's a ship.
Marines, get in here.
Yeah, those Marines ain't gonna do shit.
Stop it! Stop it! Please, what are you doing? You are my iron eyes! We are the Daleks! I create...
Okay, well, this didn't last long. Oh!
created you!
Oh, fuck. That's twisty.
What their plan was.
What was their plan?
I was their plan.
Well, shit.
TARDIS self-destruct, and you know what that means. My ship goes, you all go with it.
Ooh.
Not use such a device!
Simon. No scans, no nothing.
That's a cookie.
Move and I'll destroy us all. You got that?
TARDIS, bang, bang, Daleks, boom.
That's just a cookie, you asshole.
Oh, I get it, I get it. Oh, this is rich. The progenitor wouldn't recognize you, would it? It saw you as impure. Your DNA
Oh.
is unrecognizable as Dalek.
The lights are back on.
No!
The generators won't switch off. The lights are on all across London, Prime Minister.
That's not good. Ooh. A white Dalek. Interesting. Oh, and blue. We get a blue variant. Orange. Yellow. Red. All the colors of the fucking rainbow. Which is kind of nice, actually.
We could send something up there, you say?
Well, with a gravity bubble, yes. Theoretically, it's possible that we could actually send something into space.
In a gravity bubble.
Well,
Yeah, they're gonna be killed.
disintegrate!
Aww. Aww. But they were prepared for that.
Scan reveals nothing! TARDIS self-destruct device non-existent!
All right, it's a jammy dodger, but I was promised tea.
That's right, get distracted. Ooh.
Danny boy to the doctor. Come in. Over.
We're taking planes into space.
Okay, chaps. Let's put London back under cover of darkness.
Man, this is crazy. Jeez. They even have lasers. Who outfitted these with lasers? Oh no.
We've lost Jubilee, sir.
Jeez. You never see this kind of stuff in Doctor Who. Alright, good. Get those damn lights off.
This is the end for you. The final end.
It's never the final end.
I'm not stupid, mate. You've just played your last card.
Bracewell is a bomb!
Ah, crap.
You're bluffing.
Destroy the Daleks or save the Earth! Begin
You gotta save the Earth, man.
oblivion continuum!
Ever fancied someone you know you shouldn't?
What?
Hurts, doesn't it?
Ooh.
Almost violet. Like the last touch of sunset. The edge of the world.
I'm not exactly sure how this works, but alright.
Doorbell.
That's right. That's right. Fuck you, Daleks.
You will never defeat us, Doctor. We will return. We will return.
Whoa!
Gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
The Daleks have won. They beat me, they've won.
Yeah.
You saved the Earth. Not too shabby, is it?
Think about the positives. Man, that's cool. I hope we get to see him again. That'd be awesome.
TARDIS key. The one you just took from the doctor?
Well, damn.
She's good, Doctor.
Doorbell?
Dorabella. No account go looking for her. Mind you, you can get a lot done in half an hour.
Yeah. Basically, just go. Just run. Go live a life. Shit. The crack. That crack just, it follows her. Huh. Alrighty. That was an interesting episode. We don't normally get one episode Daleks. Or Daleks for one episode. So yeah, that was definitely interesting. Okay. Let's talk about this interesting episode. Yeah, like I said, just one episode for a Dalek story. That's a bit new. We don't normally have that. Pretty much, well, okay, the first Dalek story was just one episode, but it was just a single Dalek. Other than that, they've all been two-parters. Well, kind of, I guess. Daleks only showed up at the end of Bad Wolf, and then we did Parting of the Ways. Then they only showed up at the end of Army and Ghosts, and then they were in Doomsday. But they were in both. They were in both Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks, and then both in The Stolen Earth and Journey's End. So yeah, that's. I guess it's sort of. It is sort of half and half, I suppose. It just. I don't know. I guess I got used to the two-parters. So yeah, but just a one-off Dalek story. I do kind of like that, and hey, we got new Daleks this time around. So the first thing I wrote down was the secret weapon. That was interesting. That was interesting. So now the thing is, in the last episode when we saw that clip of Winston Churchill and he said, you know, there's something is very wrong, and we see the shadow of the Dalek, we assume that the Daleks are there, you know, as an enemy to Winston Churchill. But they explain it as, well, he was unsure of it. He didn't really think that this could be... He wasn't sure that this could really work, so he called the doctor to make sure it can work. Then the doctor shows up a month later, and they think they've already solved all their problems. Like, well, no, we're fine. The Daleks, you know, what did they call them? The Ironside? I thought they called them the Iron Saints at first, but, well, I think, whatever they were. But yeah, it's like, oh, we're fine with them. They're just fine. You're just late and stuff. And we'll use this to win the war and beat Hitler and stuff like that. So, that was interesting. And, you know, seeing Daleks just be soldiers, technically, and servants was very interesting, you know, because that means they had to, you know, with what happened in the episode, they were faking all of that, which had to be infuriating for them. The fact that they were playing soldiers and servants to these inferior life forms. The next thing I wrote down was no stolen Earth. What the hell was that about? Yeah, what the hell was that about? Amy said he was talking about, Amy, you know the Daleks. They took over the Earth for a little bit. They planets in the sky. You can't forget about that. And Amy didn't know what he was talking about. So yeah, what was that about? Why doesn't she remember the stolen Earth? I don't know, but that should be something that she remembers. That has to be, because, we saw in the Sarah Jane Adventures, when Clyde was explaining to his dad about aliens, and he was like, oh, like those Dalek things. So yeah, it's like they can never pass off the Daleks. Shit. Screwdriver fell over. That's alright. There. Because I'm messing around with the cup. Sorry. So you can't cover up something like the Daleks, because they were flying all over the fucking planet, killing people and attacking and stuff, and then you just look up into the sky, there's no sky, there's just more planets around you. So the fact that Amy doesn't remember that's weird. Seems like that's something you would remember. We're gonna have to get a follow-up on that. Why doesn't she remember that? So yeah. I wrote down the testimony. That was very interesting. And the explanation of, they need to use this progenitor to create brand new pure Daleks, because pretty much, and especially like the way they were colored, it seems like the Daleks we have seen for so long throughout this entire show are not the Daleks of old. They are not the pure Daleks, which they really haven't been for a while. Even back in the Parting of the Ways, with the Daleks there, the Emperor of the Daleks said he recreated Daleks from the dead, basically. Or even in Stolen Earth, all those Daleks were created from a part of Davros. So, yeah, they haven't been the pure Daleks, technically. Although you could argue they should be pure Daleks if they're coming straight from Davros. But yeah, interesting that we now... So the progenitor didn't recognize them as pure Daleks and therefore was not going to work. So they required the doctor's testimony. He is the doctor. He says they are Daleks, then the progenitor works for them. So that was an interesting concept. Because otherwise, basically, they had to get the doctor involved. Otherwise it just would not work. So that was interesting. I like that. And the whole thing of, this is the one fucking ship that escaped the stolen Earth. The one ship that escaped, because that's the thing, is the Metacrisis doctor destroyed all the Daleks. He specifically wiped them all out, which pretty much got him exiled by the doctor. So he destroyed all of them, but I guess this was just the one ship that escaped, which is interesting. We've always thought, like, okay, there's always a way for the Daleks to escape. We've seen that for so long throughout this show. There's always some way that the Daleks escape. And for the longest time, it was through the cult of Skaro. So that's the interesting thing, which pretty much this ends basically the story kind of this cult of Skaro, because that's how far back this all goes. Which you could even say this continues now through these new Daleks. These new Daleks that were created by this lone ship that escaped their destruction at the Stolen Earth, that were formed from Dalek Khan. They were formed from Davros, who was saved in the Time War by Dalek Khan, who escaped destruction with the rest of the cult of Skaro, who also escaped their destruction during Doomsday. That's how far back this goes. All of this can be traced back to the cult of Skaro. Now, I don't think the cult of Skaro ever tied into the Emperor and the original Dalek from, Dalek back at the beginning of the series. So I don't think we can trace all the way back there. But everything with the Daleks now can all be traced back to the Cult of Skaro because of what they did, because they escaped the Time War, and kept going. This is how the Daleks survive now, through the cult. Even though, yes, these new Daleks are pure Daleks. They have no real relationship to any of the Daleks that came before them through the Cult of Skaro. Despite that, despite being pure Daleks of old, they still can trace themselves back to the cult, which is very interesting. I like that we've gone through 2 different Doctors and 4 different seasons. We keep this basic story of what happened due to the Cult of Skaro. I just think that's really interesting that we keep having to tie it all back to the Cult of Skaro because we always have to find a reason for the Daleks to still be here. Because twice now we've seen extinction, well, we haven't seen, but twice now there have been extinction level events for the Daleks. The first was the Time War, the second was the Stolen Earth, when the Metacrisis Doctor committed genocide, basically. So both of those instances are extinction level events, and both times the Daleks have survived. And because we keep having to explain that, we keep tying back to the Cult of Skaro. That's basically that. That's all I wanted to say, because that's really cool. Alright. The lights over London. That was an interesting way. That was an interesting thing for the Daleks to do, was just turn the lights of London on. And because of that, the Germans flew over to bombard the city. That was very interesting. That, it's like, oh shit, they're still there, let's go get them. So yeah, that was interesting. Not specifically, because the Doctor said, it's like, this ship is too worn down, it can't destroy anything at this point. But they just used a simple thing that turned on all the lights in London. I think that was really cool. The scientist was an interesting touch. The scientist that was created by the Daleks, basically. Now, it makes you wonder, because he has all these memories and stuff, is it possible that they simply converted someone? Like, this guy was an actual person and they converted him into an android. That would be interesting if that was the case, but I really don't know. But yeah, he was an interesting addition to this. Yeah, I thought he was very interesting. That's basically that. New Daleks, color-coordinated Daleks. Well, not color-coordinated, they all have different colors, but they're all color-specific Daleks. They definitely seem like some classic Daleks, like especially from Remembrance, which is the latest, classic Dalek episode I've seen. But yeah, they're definitely different from the other Daleks that I've seen in Classic Who, who are all gray, whether that's from, the episode being black and white, or they were specifically painted gray in Genesis of the Daleks. But there were different colored Daleks in Remembrance. There were black and white Daleks, basically. But this, we get even more colors, which I kind of like, because it really does look like a return to the classics, and they're very clean looking, like very smooth paneling and stuff like that. It's kind of like Stormtrooper armor, almost. It's just very smooth, very shiny, very polished, which is interesting, because we're pretty much done with the Dalek design we've had for the entire, run of new Doctor Who. So this whole time we've been watching, sort of the, not necessarily yellow, but sort of gold, bronze maybe a bit more bronze than gold, but this sort of bronze metallic look, as opposed to now we're getting varying colors, which is very interesting. So I do like that. And the fact that it is a return to the Daleks of old, which is interesting because, the Daleks, I don't know, maybe the Daleks never change. you know, it's like, okay, what does this mean story-wise? What kind of new stories are we going to get from this because they are pure Daleks now? That's kind of what I'm wondering. I wrote down the gravity bubble. That was very cool. You know, this idea of a gravity bubble that let these planes fly into the atmosphere and attack, you know, a spaceship, basically. That was really interesting. And also, you know, the ships, the planes being outfitted with lasers was also interesting. I wrote down final end. You know, he had a choice, basically. Does he save the Earth or does he end the Daleks? If he ended the Daleks, that would be it. It's like, oh, it's their final end, which, even if he had picked that, I'm sure the Daleks would have come back at some point, because you just cannot get rid of them. But, for all intents and purposes, let's say this was it. If he had done this, this would have been it. The last Daleks would have finally been destroyed. But he couldn't do it. He just could not do it. He had to save the Earth from the bomb. And because of that, the Daleks did win. This is kind of... I would say this is basically the first time in the show, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is the first time that the Daleks won. Which he admitted that too. The Daleks won. You know, they got away and they're going to go and, you know, become stronger than ever. And, you know, be these amazing, powerful new race of Daleks, pure Daleks. But at the same time, despite the fact that they won and technically the Doctor lost, despite that, he did save the Earth and at a point where, you know, obviously the Earth should never be destroyed, but at the same time, it's like, this was a very important point in history. You can't, like, you know, this is a point where you really can't mess with it. It's a fixed point, this war. So yeah, and Amy, and I like that Amy, you know, had to remind him, you did save the Earth. Even if the Daleks won, you didn't, it's not a total loss, basically. So I like that. And then the android, what was his name? Bracewell. Him being a bomb was also interesting, and it makes sense that the Daleks would do that. I'm not quite sure why, you know, convincing him that he is human would stop the bomb, but it was an interesting scene. And, you know, and the Doctor is trying to, you know, bring up the pain of loss, you know, which shows that he is human. But I like that Amy takes a little different route, you know, tries to remind him, yes, of like the pain of heartbreak and stuff like that, but also, you know, it's like he had heartbreak through love, basically. And so it's like, it's more than just, you know, the pain of losing someone. It's the pain and the love that she was trying to remind him of, and I really did like that. And, you know, kind of, if you think about it, because of that, Amy saved the Earth again. You know, she saved the day again, which I kind of like. That, you know, she's bringing in something that maybe the Doctor wouldn't think about. Which is interesting. You know, maybe you could argue at this point the Doctor should be able to figure something like that out. But at the same time, I like that, you know, his companion, you know, brings something to the table. And, you know, so I like that. I like that Amy was able to help him really remember that he is human. Yes, through pain, like the Doctor was trying to do, but also through love. Like, basically, she was trying to get all of the human part of him. And it worked, and it was really interesting. So, yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's basically it. I really liked this episode. I think this was really good. And now we've got sort of a cliffhanger with, you know, what's going to happen with these new Daleks. We'll have to find out. But yeah, this was really good. I really liked it, and that's pretty much that. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Doctor Who reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.